Welcome to episode number 8 of CX Talk. We're thrilled to have you with us. My name is Dave Murray. I am the Senior Consultant for the DiJulius Group. And of course, as always, I am with John DiJulius. Hello, John.
Hello, Dave. Hello, everyone.
So, John, it's been a while. It feels like it's been a while. We've been busy around here. A lot going on.
We have been.
A little bit of travel. We've had some new classes happen that we'll talk about. Our new Relationship Center class that took place last week. So we have a lot to talk about this episode. But what did you want to start with? What did you see in the news recently?
So a couple good, interesting stories. The American Standard of Customer Satisfaction Index came out. And finally, Comcast and Time Warner Cable have some company for being the worst.
Oh, wow. Who's that?
And it probably won't shock you or our viewers that Spirit Airlines is dead last at 54, a rating of 54.
Wow.
And if you've read The Customer Service Revolution, we use them as an example. So, very interesting. Airlines still come in as one of the weakest airline, in the American Customer Satisfaction Index. JetBlue is number one.
Great.
For a second time, and then Southwest, at least in the airline industry. It will be interesting to see if JetBlue can maintain that now that they've acquired. They acquired someone?
I haven't seen that.
Yes, I forget who they acquired, but they acquired someone. So that's not a shocker. The other thing I saw in the news last night I was reading is a wedding company. I have it here on my phone. A wedding company who contracts like your tents and linens and all that. When you sign their contract, you probably won't notice this, but it reads, by signing this contract, you're agreeing that you will not make or encourage any disparaging comments about our company ever in any form, verbal or written.
Wow.
So this isn't the first time that companies have tried to do this. Cleargear.com did it years ago where they charged people $3,500 if you did it, and several other companies have tried. That hotel out of New York, charged you of anyone in your wedding party, and they've lost in court. California passed a law that you can't do this, and other states are following. So it's unfortunate that companies have to sneak in these clauses that try to intimidate people from writing anything negative about them versus just focusing on a better customer experience and not needing to worry about it.
Right. Always looking for ways to try and stifle the customers instead of just making them happy.
Correct. And I'll tell you one good story. I know you got a couple good stories. I was on Delta, and I don't fly Delta that much, so I don't know if this is unusual, but it's certainly unusual for me. A couple weeks ago, I was in Florida, and my layover was in Atlanta, and Atlanta airport was closed temporarily. It was shut down. Nothing was on hold, whatever. Nothing was coming out, going in. So it was we didn't know it was going to be, but it was a 3-hour delay. And in Florida, the Delta handled it so well, the gate agent and the pilot came on and got on the, what is that called?
The intercom?
Intercom. Literally once every 15 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
And most of the time it was to say, there is no updates.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10 pizzas arrived, and pop and drinks for everyone in the gate. And I was shocked. And to really, that right there is nice. But to think about it, Delta had nothing to do with this.
Right.
Atlanta was shut down, the airport, right, for any airlines. It wasn't a mechanical issue with Delta, something wrong with the plane, needed more, a different crew. It was, the city they were flying into was shut down. So I was really, really shocked. And then, to even top it off, a few days later I got an email from Delta saying, sorry about your inconvenience. We'd like to hear how we handled it. And
wow.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I never thought I'd be using an airline as a best practice.
A great example of not our fault, but it's our problem.
Yep, and zero risk.
Yes. Great.
What do you got, Dave?
Well, I have a best practice to share. You know, I love to share best practices. I just got this one in the mail yesterday, all the way from our friends at Amrest in Wrocław, Poland. So they...
Amrest stands for?
Amrest owns a couple of brands throughout Central Europe. They
American restaurants.
Yes, American restaurants. They own the rights to KFC, Pizza Hut, Starbucks, and Burger King, and other brands as well. But those were the brands that I worked with, and I got to go over there last June. For those of you that have seen the show, you've heard me talk about it before. So KFC over at Amrest just rolled out their service vision, and they did something that I thought was really, really cool as part of their rollout. So they created their Credo card, and what they did was they did this nice packaging that it came in this larger card, and they call theirs KFC Super Service. That's what they branded their entire service initiative. But what they did that I thought was so cool is they identified their top 100 stakeholders in this project. So the managers that need to make sure this is happening at the ground level, and they created these solid Credo cards. So all employees got a regular Credo card, a cardboard card, but they created this gold solid card for these 100 stakeholders that they identified. So it has their Credo card, it has their pillars on the back, and then on the bottom of each one it's personalized. So all these 100 people have their name on the Credo card, as well as the number of the card that it is.
Really cool.
They were nice enough to include me on it as well, so I have my own personalized Amrest KFC Credo card that I will be carrying with me. But what a way to make sure you are engaging and taking care of the stakeholders that you're going to count on the most once you roll this out. So I thought that was a great idea and a great new best practice that just got rolled out a couple weeks ago.
Love it. Very cool.
Yes.
All right, good.
The Customer Experience Executive Academy, preparing customer service executives to lead, design, and manage the customer experience. Applications for 2015 courses now being accepted. Find out more at cxeacademy.com.
All right, so we want to make sure we tell you about the Secret Service Summit, which is only a few months away. This year, the 2015th, I think our 7th annual, is September 29th and 30th in Cleveland, Ohio. And many of you are multiple time attendees. I can guarantee you this, and I know this is going to shock a lot of people, that this year's lineup is our best ever. Mm-hmm. It is such an incredible lineup. And I believe, Dave, we have a guest online with us that you're going to introduce. And I'm really excited because I go way back with our guest today, who's going to be speaking at the summit, and will really add a dimension to the summit this year that, honestly, we've never had before.
I agree 100%. I'm really looking forward to hearing Patrick. Joining us today is Patrick Thean. So Patrick is a serial entrepreneur. He is the CEO of Rhythm Systems. He's also author of the book Rhythm, How to Achieve Breakthrough Execution and Accelerate Growth. And as I mentioned, he is a serial entrepreneur. His first company that he started reached the ranking of 151 on the Inc. 500 list. And also, he's been the Entrepreneur of the Year in North Carolina. And joining us today from Charlotte is Patrick Thean. Patrick, how are you today?
Hey, David and John, I'm great. Thank you very much for having me today.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for joining us. I wanted to start out if you could.
Let me give you a little background, Patrick.
Oh, sure.
We go way back. Patrick's, was in some of my seminars. We probably past 6, 7, 8 years. And he's in the audience. He'd come up to me after and introduce himself initially and tell me the stuff he's doing, how he's incorporated, some of our, customer service systems. And it was humbling because you could tell, he should have been on stage speaking. And now he is. And he just came out with a best-selling book, Rhythm. I've read it. I have Eric, my managing partner of John Roberts, reading it with all his managers. And as you'll hear from Patrick, it's really about implementation and systems. And that's why I meant that we've never had it. At our events, we have it's like a machine gun of great ideas. Mm-hmm. But as everyone knows, you go to a seminar, you get a bunch of great ideas. They didn't do you any favors. You need to have an action plan and stickability, and that's what I love about Patrick. So again, welcome, Patrick. It's great to have you, part of the Secret Service Summit and on our CX Talk.
That's awesome, John. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to your summit.
Well, we are as well, and let's dive right in if we can. Patrick, can you tell us a little bit about what our viewers today can expect from your session at the summit in September?
Absolutely. So, lots of folks have great ideas, and sometimes great ideas just kind of die on the vine. Ram Charan wrote a wonderful article in 1999 for Fortune magazine about why CEOs failed, and the punchline to this article was that these CEOs had great strategy but had trouble bringing the strategy live into action and execution, and that's why they failed. He actually profiled some pretty famous guys like John Scully from Apple at the time. And so what your customers are going to hear is that we have a really simple process. We have a think process to help you work on your business and to think about what you want to do, a plan process for taking the idea that you want to do and figuring out how you're actually going to do it. So really visualizing how you're going to get it done. And then the do process, which every week you get into a do rhythm of looking at your execution, beginning with the end in mind, and what adjustments you have to make your strategies come to life every single week. And I'm going to actually apply this to your specific stuff, John, because I love your stuff, and over here at Rhythm Systems, we have actually implemented a lot of the Secret Service techniques into what we're calling our WOW customer experience. So you'll hear about how using a think, plan, do rhythm, we actually were able to take some of these ideas, put it into a thought process, and then implement it in a plan, one bite at a time, so there's no overwhelming. And then improving ourselves over 13 weeks, 1 week at a time, making some fine adjustments to help us get better and better and better at this wonderful Secret Service stuff.
And that, Patrick, that's what I like about, the book and the way I describe rhythm. And it's certainly not scientifically, but it's just eat that elephant one bite at a time instead of, being, overwhelmed with, trying to turn that ship around in what feels like a bathtub. You break it down in such simple terms and a system that, we're moving at 1%, every day or every week, and then, pretty soon we've made up some ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And this analogy you have is eat the elephant one bite at a time. That's great. So lots of times people come into a year and, they have all these things they want to do for the year. They try and do them all at the same time. And what I share with them is, you have a 13-week race. In fact, the only way to have a great year is to have 4 great quarters. And the only way to have a great quarter is to have 13 great weeks, one at a time. So instead of thinking about your whole year, yes, keep in mind your key initiatives of the year, but then really pick a few things and really blow them out in the first quarter over 13 weeks. And then pick a few more things and blow it out in the second quarter. And that way, you get into a nice rhythm. And by the way, people are afraid to say no to something because they're afraid that when they say we're not going to do something, it means no forever. But in this method, when you say no, you're only saying no for 13 weeks. So for a lot of our clients and entrepreneurs and business owners, when they realize that they're only saying no for 13 weeks and they get to relook at that decision at the end of the quarter as they plan for the next quarter in the plan rhythm, they get to say yes for that idea that they said no. So no, in my case, could really mean no for 13 weeks, could be wait and then digest it in the proper time. So we found that for most of our customers, this process of visualizing what they're going to do in the plan rhythm allows them to turn off some things and have good extreme focus for the quarter. And that's, John and Dave, that's how things get done. Is people don't want to try to do too many things, but really focus on a handful, get them done, and then next quarter focus on another handful, get them done. Again, to this beautiful rhythm, just like breathing.
That's great.
Yeah, I love that. So, Patrick, the other question that I have for you, I know that you've been referred to from time to time as the dashboard guy, and you're an advocate of dashboards. Can you speak a little bit about those for us?
Sure, sure. There's two types of KPIs, key performance indicators or metrics that I like to put on dashboards. And when people ask me about dashboards, my dashboard is really simple. I like to have a 13-week dashboard where you can look at every single week, status how you're doing, and forecast how you're going to achieve your quarter. So what I like to do is come up with, one or two results indicators, and then I'll talk at the summit about how you want to have a couple of leading indicators. Most of us only have result indicators, and that would be like driving your car, looking at the rear view mirror only. You want that. You want the rear view mirror, but you don't want the word only. You kind of want that, but you want to look out through the windshield so you can see things which are coming with good predictability and good forecasting. And so when I look at metrics and dashboards, I like to have one or two results indicators and then a couple more leading indicators that can help you avoid getting blindsided, kind of maybe predict a train wreck that's ahead of you before you run into it. And I put those things on a dashboard that you can have over 13 weeks so you can see how you're doing every week, see the trend line, and then make the adjustments necessary. And by the way, the most important thing I share about dashboards is that dashboards don't solve problems. They highlight things that people then need to have dialogue and conversation, discussions about. And then it's us people that you solve those problems. I had a customer call me once and say, Patrick, the dashboard's not working. And I said, why? And he said, look, I had 2 weeks of red, 3 weeks of red. I'm like, great, we regularly green on dashboards. And I said, so it's great, it's working. Well, why are you saying it's not working? He said, because my business hasn't changed. And I said, dude, what did you do about that red? And there was silence, and we both laughed. And I said, dude, dashboards don't do the work for you. It tells you it's red, but then now you're going to have the discussions with your team and solve that red. So these dashboards are the right leading indicators will help you highlight problems that you then need to solve with your team and take action. I think of these dashboards and KPIs as action triggers to tell you it's time to do something.
Yeah, so that's why I'm so excited, Patrick, because this industry, every company needs black and white KPIs for measuring their customer experience, and that's what you're going to bring this audience.
Yes, absolutely. Every company needs something special, something different. People say to me, Patrick, what are the top 2 or 3 KPIs? And really, you can't do that. One quick example would be when I was running Medisys, the Inc. 500 firm, I was concerned my programs were burning out because the code wasn't very good. And what I realized was that the leading indicator for me was to make sure that my guys weren't overtasked and overworked. So we had a leading indicator to help me with that. And when I saw that my guys were working too hard, I'll tell you, take the weekend off, go watch Batman this weekend. And so that's a good example of something special, something unique that a company needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Which Batman was it?
I think it was this was in the 90s,
Oh,
so
gosh.
This was during the Michael Keaton days. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, thank you so much for joining us today and being a part of the Secret Service Summit. Like I said, your experience, your expertise, and the niche. You're really going to help fill a niche that is desperately needed, that our audience is going to benefit from.
Hey, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to it.
Yes, thank you, Patrick. We'll see you in September.
Okay, man. See you soon.
10 speakers, 2 days, 1 event. The Secret Service Summit, America's #1 customer experience conference. Tickets available now at secretservicesummit.com.
Well, John, I have some exciting news to share with you. As you know, this past week we had our first ever class called Turning Your Call Center into a Relationship Center, where we focused on all the things that we do as an organization when we're consulting, but really kind of compact it all for a call center. And if you recall, when we first started working together way back when I was a client of the DiJulius Group first, I was overseeing a call center as part of my position. So it was a natural fit for me, knowing how great when you came in and presented and we did a CEC and all the things that we did at the call center I was overseeing at the Indians, what an immediate and positive impact it had. So it was a natural for this class. So
Dave, did you call it a call center or customer service? Because there's so many terms for this. Contact center, call center, customer service.
We called it our customer service department.
Right.
Yes.
But it was basically taking incoming calls for the most part, correct?
Yes, incoming with some outgoing, but primarily inbound calls.
Yeah, yeah. And then for the model and the people we had in this, they could be technical support to any inside sales. Kind of.
Some, yes. We had some that focused on outbound sales. We had some that focused on primarily on inbound. It was really interesting that the clients that we had this class really ran the gamut as far as the industries they were in. A lot of them were business to consumer, but there was some business to business as well.
Manufacturing, distributing.
Yes, definitely. One of the biggest takeaways that I took from the first workshop that we conducted was I posed the question. We talked a lot about scripting, and we actually showed some examples. We showed some examples from Zappos and how their free-for-all style works out there for them. We also showed an example of Uniqlo, the video that I'm referring to, of how structured their service is, because they see it as their largest competitive advantage. So they even train on how to smile, how
They
to say hello.
systematize hospitality.
Yes. And so we had a very long conversation with everybody in the room about their own scripting and how much is too much. And what we really determined was that there is no right or wrong answer. It depends on your business. But what we found was that everyone in the room kind of fell in the middle. They want to give their CSRs, their folks, enough autonomy to take a conversation and to go where they can with it. But they also wanted to make sure that some things were being hit upon, so that some standards were being touched, and that some particular products or whatever the case may be were also being discussed by their agents. It was interesting that I found that everyone really in our initial class found themselves kind of right in the middle between Uniqlo and Zappos as far as what was the right scripting for them.
Well, that's a really key point. But the reason why we needed to create this is, as you know, in all our industries, and we're guilty of it too. Our other business, John Robert Spog, we have a call center. The name is old. It's an old paradigm, and we're all guilty of. There was that great article that you referenced, in one of your articles, e-services, that call centers today are the modern day white collar sweatshops.
Yes.
And if you think about that, it's not a glamorous job. Usually you're not. In a beautiful surrounding, looking out the window. Mm-hmm. Your scenery doesn't change. The questions don't change. It's like the movie Groundhog's Day.
Right.
And every call seems to be the same, and it is a tough job. So changing the whole mindset and paradigm. That's a relationship center. That these are the ambassadors of your company, the ambassador, and they represent your customer. And to give them that, and let's raise the level of pride and purpose they have in their job, and let's improve their job. It's certainly not their fault, but let's make them relationship centers. Let's build in time for them to create relationships and be able to go above and beyond. So yeah, I love it. Great feedback. Congratulations. It was a huge success, and I think we're having a big impact on companies there.
Definitely, and thank you very much for that. I'm looking forward to the next one already because it was a lot of fun too.
Good. So we end each CX talk with a chapter. There's 12 chapters in the book, and there's 12 months in a year. So we recommend that you have all your team read a chapter per month and do the exercises. And right now, for the next 2 weeks. End of April, beginning of May, if you're watching this during those weeks, Amazon is running some crazy promotion that you can get my new book, best-selling, for 99 cents on Amazon. So you can buy all your employees, a Kindle version, on Amazon, at Amazon on Kindle, an ebook, for 99 cents. So this month we are talking about Chapter 4, Negative Cues, and read it, think about the negative cues, and then talk about how they may live in your world. So some examples: negative cues come in all sources, verbal, signage, agreements. And the biggest thing is why do so many companies have agreements and policies written to be, so paranoid and suspicious. So let's create our customer experience if no customers had bad intentions. So negative cues are things we say, verbiage we use, saying, we need to verify your information versus confirm or update. All these crazy signs on our website, disclaimers, look at your website, look at your door, look at, no solicitor. I just worked with a bunch of dentist office last week in Texas. And one of the signs they have on their door is no solicitors allowed. So why do you have that? Say, oh my gosh, we'd get this, woman, would come in all the time trying to do it, and they describe, and they'd have all these examples of these people come in trying to sell them. I said, so do they still come in? Yeah. So the sign didn't help, right? So like even having a sign that, we prosecute, or you'll have to pay $30 if you bounce a check, or, if you get caught stealing, in our clothing stores, we'll prosecute you. That doesn't stop people, right? It just insults the 99% that would never think of doing it. But the ones that are going to write bad checks or solicit or whatever, will still do it. So, look at all the places that, you could have negative cues. So many of the times they need to still be said, right? Travel Centers of America had a sign in their truck repair where the drivers wait, where, between them and the bay where their truck, it was getting fixed at, no drivers allowed past this point. Well, that looks suspicious. It looks like, why aren't you letting me pass this point? Or what are you doing to my truck? It was really an insurance regulation.
Right.
So they reworded it and said, for your safety, should you need anything from your truck, please ask one of us. We'd be happy to get it for you. Our salon, we used to have, when you'd enter our spa portion, no cell phones past this point. Again, it's nice, we need to, kind of have a cell phone free place, but, no threats. So we changed it. We thank you for making this a cell phone free, peaceful environment. Right? Same message, but said differently. So, read chapter 4. Find out, have your team figure out the negative cues, verbal, signage, what we're doing, how we're acting, we're on stage, we're off stage. All those are negative cues. And then do an audit of where yours may exist and how you can change them or eliminate them.
One of my favorite things about negative cues when we're out there working with clients of ours and we're doing a workshop and negative cues are discussed and we go through the exercise and we identify some, I always ask the question, well, why do we have that in place? And usually 9 out of 10 times, no one has a clue. It's just the way we've always done it, and it's just always been that way, so that's why we do it.
Right, yeah, that's a great point.
It also makes it a lot easier to change when no one has a clue why it's that way.
Yeah, they inherited it.
Yes. All right, well that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Dave.
I'd also like to thank Patrick for joining us and telling us about what he'll be sharing at the summit this year. We're really looking forward to that and having him.
While it lasts. That summit, best lineup ever. You can save $420 before May 1st. So hopefully you're watching this before May 1st, and you can jump on that. It's going to sell out quickly.
Yes, it will. All right, until next time, thank you, and we'll see you around.
CX Talk is brought to you by the DiJulius Group. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, and visit our YouTube channel monthly for more entertainment and education with John and Dave on CX Talk.